another edition of your weekly news recap on the Voiceoutdigital with me, our Biba. The weekly news recap is a collection of national and international news events that took place over the week. Well, viewers, before we take the details in this weekly news recap, first, we take a look at national and international headlines as part of this weekly news recap. Gambia bond floods cancels diverted to Senegal. Gamcels calls for bailout or risks of halting operations. Government compensates 4 Gambian journalists. On the international headlines, dominant parties hits in European elections. South Africa gets gender balanced cabinet. Well, viewers, these and more coming in this edition of your weekly news recap. All flights bound for the Gambia have been either diverted to Dakar or cancelled after a police aircraft broke down on the runway at the Banjul International Airport on Tuesday. Director General, Department of Strategy and Policy Delivery, Alaji Nyangado, told a pool of journalists at a press conference held in State House. Ndia Jahate reports.
According to Mr. Nyangado, the airport terminal is expected to resume the operation within 48 hours. The time could be ever less because the authorities of the airport are doing their almost best to solve the situation. Her remark report has it that the aircraft that are suspected to take off for the United Kingdom has it bursting on the runway. This has made the flight that are come to the Gambia to be devoted to the Senegal and other cancelled. The airport is known to be offended encountering bird strike during their frequent flighting of bats. Around each Evron, bats are reportedly attracted by the dump site that is just a few miles away from the airport terminal. This is a place where different bats come to the savannah for food. Government is not taking the issue of clearing the dumping site of the airport lightly, said Mai Ahmed Fati, one of the president's advisors. He disclosed that the government to the highest level has met to spread on how we go about it. Leah Jahate, reporting for VOD.
The Gambia government has compensated 4 journalists based on the rulings made by ECOWAS Court. The Gambia Press Union, through a press statement, has confirmed that each of the 4 journalists has received from the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Abubakar Batambedu. Salanjai reports.
In a ruling made in February 2018, the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice based in Abuja, Nigeria, ordered the government to pay compensation of $25,000 to Gambian journalists Fatou Kamra, Lamin Fati, Alaji Job, and Fati Jaumane for violation of their right to press freedom. The suit against the Gambian government was filed in 2015 by the Federation of African Journalists along with the then 4 exiled journalists. It came about following consultations between the Gambian Press Union and Media Legal Defense Initiative, who supported the GPU to launch a similar suit filed by the GPU at the Supreme Court of the Gambia. The Gambia Press Union welcomes and highly appreciates the payment of compensation to the 4 journalists by the government of the Gambia.
The Gambia's national GSM operator, Gamcell operator, has raised a red flag calling for a bailout on its current serious and precarious situation or risks of stopping operation. The general manager of Gamcell, Elizabeth Johnson, made the clarion call at the National Assembly before the Public Enterprise Committee while presenting their 2017 Financial and Activity Report. Gamcell, she said, needs a bailout to continue to serve as a service provider. It needs a bailout through capital injection from government or help sources, according to Mrs. Johnson. She further said Gamcell continues to be at a crosscut road and needs urgent intervention on serious financial grabbing. First clashes are reported in Koina between people from different castes on Saturday, 25th May 2019 from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. on Sunday. According to an eyewitness, shots were fired in the air, houses were razed to the ground by fire, and demolitions and injuries were sustained. Ndia Jahate reports.
According to sources, it all started at 9 p.m. when Mahmoud Kurubale, a member of Gambunako, an association that advocates for the end to discrimination, was allegedly during the Taiwa prayer. It tied up by the members of the so-called Freeborn. Then the members of Gambunako intervened on admit to rescope their member by untightening him, which led to a clash between the two factions leading to injuries on both sides. Demba Maimuna Toure is among those injured from the Gambunako, who has his 2 teeth broken and is admitted in Koina Health Center.
The General Court Martial in the case involving 12 soldiers facing 9 criminal counts, including treason, on Monday sentenced 7 soldiers to 9 years imprisonment. Salanjai reports.
The accused persons were arrested in July 2017 in relation to a WhatsApp group created to commit treason by arresting cabinet ministers, the chief of defense staff and battalion commanders, as well as to attack the economic. As previously reported, 10 of the accused persons were alleged to have created a WhatsApp group with the sole intention of committing treason and other felonious offences. The 2 other accused persons were charged in relation to the escape of Sergeant Yusufa Jatta.
The governor of the Central Bank of the Gambia, Bakary Jammeh, has revealed that the Gambia's stock of domestic debts as of May 2019 has increased from 31.2 billion in 2018 to 31.8 billion in 2019. Mr. Jammeh made this and other remarks during the quarterly meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee at the Central Bank of the Gambia. This, he said, represents an increment from 39.2% of the gross domestic product in 2018 to 41.9% in 2019. With that, we turn to the international news as part of this weekly news recap. Welcome back. We now turn to the international news. Major centrist parties suffer big losses in EU elections as liberals, Greens and nationalists gain ground. The projected results for the new European Parliament saw significant losses for the 2 main groups, the centre-right European People's Party and the centre-left Socialist and Democrats Party. Salanjai reports.
They remain the largest groups but have lost their traditional majority in the European Parliament. The Greens and Liberal groups have made gains, as well as the right-wing nationalist and populist groups. The results for individual countries are a mixture of projected official figures and are subject to change as more results are declared. Parties may also change which European party group they belong to.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced a new cabinet in which, for the first time in the country's history, half of all ministers are all women. In another expected move, one of the women is from the opposition side. Ndia Jahate reports.
President Ramaphosa appoints a veteran opposition politician, Patricia De Lele, who had stood for a good party as Minister of Organisation Development. South African journalist Varashi told BBC Newsday that the move to have all the cabinet posts occupied by women was a surprise. She said South Africans have welcomed the move to have equal gender representation. President Ramaphosa made a point of hosting a girl child that take a walk, where he told students he wanted to be a lawyer from a very young age. Many hope that the presence of women will help in poverty.
7 South Korean tourists have died and another 21 people are missing after a boat capsized on the Danube River in Hungary's capital, Budapest. Salanjai reports.
30 South Korean tourists and 3 tour guides as well as 2 Hungarian crews were on the boat when it collided with another vessel. The incident occurred just after 9 o'clock local time, 7 o'clock GMT on Wednesday. 7 people have been rescued and a massive search operation is continuing on a river swollen by heavy rainfall. The rain had led to strong currents on Danube, and rescue teams said there is little hope of finding more survivors. It was not immediately clear which vessel was responsible for the collision. This is believed to be a rare incident on the Danube, as navigation is normally busy but generally safe. A criminal investigation has been launched.
U.S. President Donald J. Trump has announced tariffs on all goods coming from Mexico, demanding the country curb illegal migration into the U.S. In a tweet, Mr. J. Trump said that from 10 June, a 50% tariff will be imposed and will slowly rise until the region immigration problem is remedied. Salanjai reports.
Jesus said Mexico's top diplomat for North America said the proposed tariffs will be disastrous. Mr. Trump declared a national emergency at the U.S.-Mexico border in February. He said it was necessary in order to tackle what he claims is a crisis at the U.S. southern border. Border agents say they are overwhelmed, but critics say they are mishandling and mistreating migrants. The U.S. president has long accused Mexico of not doing enough to stem the flow of people, and that this is his latest attempt to put pressure on the neighboring state. Mr. Seed said Mexico must respond vigorously if the tariffs, which are a tax on a product made abroad, were brought in. However, Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador responded saying he did not want confrontation. I propose deepening our dialogue to look for other alternatives to the migration problem, he wrote in a letter on Thursday.
The woman who started France's campaign to encourage women to expose their sexual harassers has appeared in court over allegations of defamation. Sandra Mueller is being sued by Eric Bruno, who she named when she created the campaign. The TV executive says he filtered with Ms. Mueller inappropriately on a single occasion, but his portrayal as a predator has ruined his career. Ndia Jahate reports.
According to Mola, he is seeking 50,000 euros in damage. Mr. Brown is also looking for another 15,000 euros in legal fees and the deletion of the tweet which named him. The hearing on Wednesday attracted widely circulated attention in France, where sexual harassment is believed to be a commonplace, but which has also seen a backlash to the movement. Ndia Jahate reporting for VOD.
Some of the world's biggest footwear firms are urging Donald J. Trump to end the trade war with China, warning of a catastrophic effect on consumers. Salanjai again reports.
A letter signed by 173 companies, including Nike and Adidas, says the president's decision to raise import tariffs will affect the working class. They also warn that higher levies threatens the future of some businesses. Mr. Trump says the trade deficit with China hurts the U.S. economy. The U.S. president increased levies on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports into the United States from 10% to 25% more than a week ago, after Washington and Beijing failed to reach a deal on trade. China retaliated by announcing plans to raise levies on $60 billion of U.S. imports from 1st of June. Sanjay reporting.
Well, with that, we come to the end of this edition of your weekly news recaps. Thanks for joining us. I was your presenter, Awa Biba. Until we come your way next weekend on the same platform, Voice Out Digital.